Okay, here we go. I'm solo today. I'm doing this without Chris. He's gone off to the cabin to do some of his cabin stuff, and that'll be coming up in a different video on a different channel. But today we're working on KTM. You saw this before. I've changed it a little bit. I got some different grips. Like I said in the last video, I didn't like them. I completed the mounting of the Endurance 2. I raised it up a little bit and changed it, and that seems to work. I had to do some tweaking on the sensor on the magnet on the front wheel. I had to take the wheel off and take the actual rotor off to get the sensor in there, but that's going. The motor is getting there. I've got a couple of bearings I had to buy. I put a couple of things together. I'm getting things squared away with that, but what I've got today is this is the power valve on the cylinder head, and so that's what we're going to work on today. So we're back on the cylinder head. This thing got freshly plated. Piston fits great, but needs power valve. And this power valve is slightly different than later model KTM's. They changed these pieces that control the rotating pieces in the head here. They changed the cover. The new ones, they actually added water flow through here, and they changed the way that the shaft mounts and all that. But I couldn't find anything on there, so I'll be giving you a little bit of detail on what's going on with that stuff as we progress through. Now, to start with, everything has to be super clean, and this thing is starting out pretty damn clean because it was cleaned before it was plated and then cleaned after it was plated. I've gone ahead and put on new silicone O-rings on these rotating valves, and these rotating valves are, I couldn't find anything on these on the internet or in documentation from KTM or anywhere else, so it's kind of a it was a guessing game a little bit between the new stuff and what this is. But you see these are off, the hole is actually, or the slot is actually offset. Well, it's offset in this head too. So when you stick these in, and there is a left, the left one has a hole in it. Actually, the right one has a hole in it. This is the exhaust side. So this goes in, and when this thing is fully open, the slot lines up with the hole in the head. That's the way they work, and that's fully open. And the other one does the same deal. It gets put in there the same way. When you put it together, it goes together fully open, and then it'll close the way it closes. There are supposed to be marks on these little guys, and then marks on these levers to indicate where they go, but I can find dots on these parts, but they don't seem to match up to anything on these parts. So I had to do it myself, trying to figure it out. But this guy, the way these go in here, these things actually will come off. And there's bearings. These bearings will come off too. They're kind of a little bit difficult to get on here, so I'm not going to take them off anymore. I did take them off and cleaned them and put them back on. I'm not going to replace them, although I could. The way that this moves, it's not that big of a deal that they're not replaced. The newer stuff uses a sleeved bushing that is probably about a 1/2 inch long that slides on here, and it seems to be a lot better system than this old stuff. But I've got this old stuff. That's what I got, and that's what I'm going to run. So the way this goes in, this is the back side. This just goes in like this, slides right in here. These bearings go into the slots, just like that, and there it is, fully open. So we set everything up fully open, and that's the way it gets worked. Now, there's two of these, and they're different. One of them has a pin, one of them has a hole. The one with the hole actually goes on the left side, and when you put this thing on here and you hold this open, there it is. When you hold it open, and then you also keep the inside one open, everything lines up, and I have actually put marks on these so that I can tell where they are and where they're open. And so that's one, and the other one is like this, and there we go. There we got these open, and now when you move this, they move together, and the holes open and everything lines up perfect. So once it's like that, ideally what you want to do is actually put these on after the fact, after you put this cover on, so that nothing moves. But I did it slightly different than what the book says. So now what you need to do is, this actually needs to be glued on here. What you use is, I'm using Max Torque gasket maker. It's just silicone sealer. Put a little bit of this stuff on here, and a little thin layer. You don't need very much. And now this guy goes on here. There we go. Now there's 4 bolts. That's better. And now I know these things are supposed to be torqued to somewhere around like 6 or 8 Newton meters, something like that. I'm just gonna snug them up here good with the T-handle. Now you need to make sure that this does move, and it does. Okay, so I got both sides moving. Good to go. There we go. Now, verify. Open, 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 open. We're fully open now. And then we close. And we're all closed. We're all closed. We're good. We're totally good now. So now that we got them lined up, now we can start putting together the sides. Now the left side uses a plate. There's a plate with a lock on it. Oh, I forgot something. I have to take these back off again. What I forgot was these plates here. These are the lock plates for the rotating pieces. I have to take those out, just lift them up slightly, and drop these in. Just like they go in just like that. And you see they also hold these bearings in. So, and then I need to Loctite the screws. I did get new screws for these, and they are Torx. They're Torx flatheads. Just a tiny bit of Loctite on these. Don't need very much. And these too are supposed to be torqued, but I'm not going to go ahead and torque them. I'm just going to tighten them up. Okay, There we go. Now we can put this guy back in, get him back in orientation, and we're good to go there. So now we got this side in. My line is good. Now there's this lock plate that fits on here, and this lock plate changes the location when you're supposed to locate this or change the height of this flap with, depending on if it's a 250 or a 300, that flap needs to be in a certain location. And right now, that's something I'm going to do after I put this whole thing together, is change that location. Right now, I'm just putting it together, and this guy is going to go in. It limits the amount of what they call that, an opening. I'm not sure, but that's how that's set up. So Loctite on this guy, and that's in. Okay, we're good to go there. This side uses a whole bunch of little pieces. Now this is where the arm connects to drive this thing up and down. And the way that this thing goes together is there's a little sleeve. On that sleeve goes this thing with the gear up, and it's up far enough that it moves over the top of this. We need to do one more thing because this is in the wrong place. This guy forgot the locking plate on this side too, so I got to drop that in. There we go. And a couple of more screws with Loctite. Okay, now we got this. We got to verify again. We're wide open. We're wide open. Good to go. Okay, now we need to put in these pieces. The sleeve, the lever arm. Then there's a spring, and this spring, the long piece actually goes above the ball, and then you put in this piece here with a little Loctite on it. Drop him in, and don't snug him up all the way yet. Just snug it up far enough that you can still move this spring. What needs to happen is the end of this spring here, you can see it's on the wrong side of this pin. It needs to go on the other side of the pin so that there's actual spring tension on this thing. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, now we've got closed, open, closed, open. And this side the same way. And now, basically we're done. All we need to do now is set the proper height. And that gets set with, because it's a maximum height, that gets set with this lever right here. And I'll set that off camera.